Welcome to our first 5 questions series, our monthly video series, which brings interesting leaders, experts, and voices together to talk about childcare challenges and solutions. I'm Sarah Rittling, the Executive Director of the First 5 Years Fund, an organization that focuses on building support for federal policies that strengthen childcare and early learning programs so more families can find and afford the quality care they need. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by my friend Hollis Silverman, owner and founder of Eastern Points Collective and many of my beloved restaurants and bars, including La Colina, The Duck and the Peach, Wells, and Melly. As a business leader, she knows that access to childcare and issues facing parents is key to running a successful business, and she's working single-handedly to ensure her team and businesses across the country have access to that. Welcome, Hollis.
Hello, good morning.
First question. Hollis, you've worked in the restaurant industry your entire career and have owned and operated your own restaurant company for over 5 years, during which you designed, built, and opened 2 restaurants and a bar at the height of the pandemic. This is an incredible task, and you've done it successfully. But your goal is not solely to serve delicious food in a beautiful and welcoming place. The mission of your company is to, quote, change hospitality through integrity and grace by constantly seeking new ways of operating that create a better life for everyone involved, team members, community members, and guests. You are out to change the culture of the industry and the world, all of which you've been recognized for as a semifinalist for the James Beard Award as Outstanding Restaurateur. Congratulations. What issues are you seeking to tackle?
Well, there's so many issues to tackle, but without a great team, you can't tackle any of them. So I'm very grateful for my team, first off. So some of the issues, number one is really looking at how we pay our team in restaurants, looking to create more quality and stability. There's a really big pay disparity between the front of house and back of house. And also the front of house, which is your servers and bartenders, are typically tipped. So they're paid a very low wage and then dependent on how the guest feels that day. So how we tackle this is we do a 22% service charge, and this is due to the federal labor laws. So it is because of those labor laws, we have to find alternatives in order to pay our team and use that money to pay the team. So that's one of the issues. And then also really trying to create more growth and more longevity for women and especially caregivers in this industry. Something I noticed being in this industry for a while is that it's really hard when you have kids or if you're trying to have kids and it's not a conducive environment, hours, or culture really to that. So I wanted to create something different because there's so many amazing people in this industry and really looking to have them stay in this industry and thrive.
All right. Question 2, your executive chef and pastry chef just welcomed new babies to their families. Can you tell me the unique issues women in the hospitality industry face as working parents to children of all ages, but certainly our littlest?
Well, I would say that the issues they face are very similar to what a lot of working outside of the home people face. It's childcare, it's expensive, figuring out how to balance everything, logistics. There's a lot. I would say childcare, especially early childcare, is really challenging until children hit a school age. And usually that's about a 5-year gap. And then people are always like, well, what have you been doing for the last 5 years?
And you supported these new moms on your team.
We did. So we were able to, and this was really exciting, we were able to not only maternity and paternity leave, but for people that have been with us a year, which Rochelle and Kat, both fortunately, actually they're coming up on 3 years. We were able to support them through different benefits, short-term disability, long-term disability, and then pay them for 3 months while they were not working.
Big deal.
It was a really big deal. And really give them that time off too. A lot of places will give time off, but then they're still working or there's still the pressure. And one of the places, well, when I had my first child, I wrote the maternity leave, and it was really trying to figure out how to make it work because also at the same time, you're trying to figure out how to get paid, because most people don't get paid during maternity leave, and only a certain amount of salary is covered. So I had to go back pretty early to work, or start working a little bit here and there, which is really hard when you're a new mom and trying to figure out all the things and then open restaurants or run restaurants. So it's really challenging. And also for chefs too, and in our industry, it's an in-person industry. It's not remote. So it's a very different challenge that people face. It's a great part of our industry because you do get a lot of interaction with people and guests, which is why we love it. But it's not something where you can just call into or work from remotely.
Question 3. What is the blue sky solution? What if you tomorrow could, tap the magic wand and have build the culture and industry that you wanted for working families? What would you do?
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, I would change the federal labor laws. I would make sure that there is no tipping. I would say benefits were given to people right away. In our industry, it's typical that you have to wait a year in order to get benefits. And then I would also say for caregivers and parents that there was affordable child care, and everywhere had free pre-K3, pre-K4 before care and after care.
You're hired. Come work with us.
And tax incentives for businesses, because you have to help the caregivers at home, and so the pre-K3, pre-K4 before care, after care, but then also incentivize the business, right? Everybody wins the more people are working or back to work. So I really feel that people just don't see the value in that, and they don't see the untapped resources of all of these caregivers at home. There's so much brilliance, there is so much talent, and it's and when you see it, and when you see people and you give them that opportunity, and you give them and you create that culture where you also give some flexibility. You also have to give flexibility to the caregivers, especially for the littles. We have, for our 2 chefs, their kids are just in daycare for the first time, and for those that have had daycare before the first time, everybody's sick all the time. They're just building up their little antibodies, so everybody's sick. And it's really hard. So then you're back at work, you're figuring out all the things. You're also trying to, maybe breastfeed and do everything else. So you've got to give people grace, right? There's some of those days where you're like, my kid can't go, so I can't come in. And that's when the other parts of the team and the other people on the team, everybody rallies around each other. And that's the really awesome part, because they can still do the thing they love with this new little thing they love.
You do have a great team. So you touched a little bit on this, and you've been on Capitol Hill and talked about these issues before. And one of the things so we're in question 4 now. One of the things that we've noticed and seen and recognized in the world is exactly what you've been doing from the beginning, which is to say, you're a doer. I see an issue I want to try to tackle, and I'm going to tackle it as a business owner, and certainly as a woman in this world. But what do you wish more members of Congress understood about these issues? You touched on some of the laws, but I think that you're getting into some of the nuance of it. It is not a one size fits all. There's a lot of different people coming at this and bringing some solutions. So what do you wish more members of Congress on Capitol Hill knew about this range of issues?
Sure. Well, for me personally, I wish people understood how restaurants work. A lot of people make assumptions and they do things, and they don't understand how restaurants work. They don't understand why there is tipping. They don't understand how the federal labor laws are written, which prohibit tips being shared with the back of house. I really wish there was just more education on that for people, which is why we do certain things. And I think understanding how hard it is to be a caregiver and have a little one. Those first 5 years are really, really hard before school, because not all places, and daycare is so expensive. So I think, I wish they would educate themselves a bit more if they did not know about how restaurants work, how hard it is to be a parent, a mom, or a caregiver and trying to get back into the workforce. And I wish they understood and looked at the businesses that were trying to do the right things, and that there were really a lot more incentives for businesses and more ways to help support that, right? There's really things that can simply be done through education and like I said, some daycare options, looking at how some of these, especially the people that work in these industries, also are paid. There's so many different levels, and I wish that they would really look at the people that are trying to make those changes and figure out how to support those businesses better and incentivize, because right now we're incentivizing the wrong things.
Right, exactly. And I think we've talked about this before too, just, you've been so creative and responsive to the needs of your team and been able to provide paid leave. And when we talk about the pay, and we're finding solutions even in the face of some of those obstacles, but when it comes to trying to support your team in childcare, it's just such a complicated thing. And I know ways in which we've talked about just how hopeful we are that some incentives and ways in which we can provide from the federal level, or even the state, or in your case, DC, some support to be able to allow you to do some more of that. So I appreciate that. Okay, question 5. Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say also, it would be really great if Congress, if members of Congress, if there were ways to also look at how we can create opportunities with other businesses and also maybe incentivize that, right? You've got to be creative, right? Restaurants, we can't afford to have on facility childcare, nor does it make sense based on my size, right? But I always look at, like, I had a friend that worked for a law firm. I'm like, you have daycare in your building? Like, that's incredible. Like, maybe we can figure out ways for some way to use that, because that law firm, they have people there, right? Or look at ways to incentivize developers. And it's like, hey, why don't you use your space and make it really affordable for a child care facility to go in there?
Right.
So I really wish there was a bit more innovation and figuring out how not to be so rigid, because it's with that flexibility, you really can innovate and create that change that's needed.
Totally great. Okay, question 5. What gives you hope?
What gives me hope is my team, seeing that making things happen for them, allowing, giving them a place where they can come and they know that they can live their dreams, right? And that having a family isn't going to stop that. And that's a lot of what, I've had conversations. They're like, I feel like, how am I going to do this? I really want to have a family, but how am I going to juggle all the things? And so when you see them thrive and you see how excited they are that they're able to do this, that's really what gives me hope. And then spreading of the word and more people that are like, okay, great, this can be done. And when people ask questions and they're like, oh, okay, this is great. And so people just start to change. So that gives me hope. People give me hope when they see that you're like, great, you can really do this. And this is especially a career in restaurants, where you can have a family.
Well, you give me hope. So thank you for all that you're doing. And I learn something every time we talk, certainly about your business and the realities of it. And I'm hopeful because you're constantly trying to make your own team better, but certainly the world. So thank you for being you. Thank you for spending some of your morning with us and being part of our first 5 question series.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and you're amazing. So wouldn't be here without you.